Something changed. You didn't announce it. You didn't post about it. You just woke up one morning and the number was different, higher, much higher. And if you're honest with yourself, part of you wasn't even surprised. Welcome back. This is Quantum Wealth Lab, and today we're going inside the mechanism behind one of the most electrifying financial experiences a person can have. The sudden credit limit increase, the limit reset, the moment the system decides, without warning, without ceremony, that you are worth more than it previously calculated. Most people chalk this up to credit bureau algorithms, utilization ratios, automated reviews. And sure, those things are real, but here's what the algorithm is actually measuring: the signal your identity is broadcasting. Credit systems are not evaluating your past. They are projecting your trajectory. And your trajectory is set by something far deeper than your payment history. It is set by who you have decided to be. This episode is built for the person who has felt the gap between what your credit file says about you and what you know is becoming true. You've been doing the work, paying things down, cleaning things up. But more than that, you've been quietly, consistently shifting the way you carry yourself in financial spaces, the way you think about limits, the way you respond when a number feels small. Today we close that gap, not by gaming a system, not by disputing accounts or writing letters. We close it by completing the quantum shift that's already in progress, the identity flip. The moment your inner architecture fully catches up with the reality you've been building. We do not come here to beg the system. We come here to remind the system who it's dealing with. So find your position, settle your breath, let the noise of whatever day you've had fall back. You are not here by accident. You followed something, a pull, an instinct, a knowing, and that knowing is about to be confirmed. Let's begin. You are not someone who carries debt. You are someone who transmutes it. That distinction is not semantic. It is the whole game. The person who carries debt moves through the world with a specific posture, apologetic, smaller than they mean to be, quietly bracing for the next bill. You know that posture. You may have worn it for years, but right now, in this moment, you are shedding it the way a tree sheds bark it has already grown beyond. You are a person with expanding credit, not because a bank decided to be generous, but because your relationship to value has shifted at the root. You no longer experience money as something that passes through you and disappears. You experience it as something that recognizes you, that returns to you, that increases around you. Credit, in its truest sense, is trust. And trust is not granted to the version of you that was struggling 2 years ago. Trust is extended to the version of you standing here right now, the one who kept going when the numbers were hard, who made the call, sent the payment, chose differently at the moment it mattered. The system is catching up to who you've already become. Say it with the weight it deserves. I am someone wealth expands toward, not someday, not once the balance hits zero. Right now. In this body, with this history, after everything, I am still the person the system is recalculating upward. Let that settle into your chest, not as a wish, as a fact that hasn't finished arriving yet. Picture the notification, not someday, now. The screen lights up, there it is. Your credit limit has been increased, not by a little, by enough that you pause, enough that you read it, twice, and then a third time, because part of your brain still hasn't caught up to what your gut already knew was coming. Feel what happens in the body when that message lands. The slight expansion in the chest, the ease in the shoulders, the particular kind of quiet that comes when a thing you've been working toward actually works. This is not fantasy, this is rehearsal. And the brain does not distinguish between the two with the clarity you might think when you feel that specific relief, that specific pride. With enough clarity and enough repetition, you are literally conditioning your nervous system to inhabit the version of reality where it is true. Abundance is not the money itself. Abundance is the capacity. It is the available credit, the open field of possibility that the system has formally agreed to extend to you. It says, we believe you can steward more. We believe more belongs with you. You are surrounded by the abundance that has already been assigned to your name and is simply waiting for the paperwork to process the increased limit. the approval notice, the letter that says your standing has been reviewed and elevated. It is coming. It is already mathematically in motion. Your only job is to stay in the frequency of someone for whom this is normal. Not a miracle, not a fluke, but a natural consequence of being exactly who you are. Here is the part most manifestation content leaves out. The flip requires action, and the action is internal. You don't chase the limit increase. You don't call the bank on a Monday morning, anxious and rehearsed, negotiating from a posture of need. That version of the conversation confirms the old story. The new story requires a different move. The move is this: you stop relating to credit as a ceiling and start relating to it as a reflection. A ceiling is something imposed on you. A reflection is something you adjust by changing what's in front of it. Right now, today, take one concrete action that the new version of you would take. Pay a statement balance in full, even if it's small. Request a limit review from a place of confidence, not desperation. Set up an automatic payment that says, I honor my commitments before I even think about it. These are not tricks, they are signals. You are sending the system, and more importantly, yourself, a clear message about the category you belong to now. The debt to credit flip is not passive. It is the active, daily choice to treat your financial life as a portfolio you are intentionally building rather than a problem you are perpetually managing. Problem managers stay stuck. Portfolio builders flip. Which one walked into this room today? That person, the portfolio builder, is already in you. They've been quiet, waiting for permission. You're giving it now. Move like it. Decide like it. One small action, taken today, from the identity of the person you are actively becoming. Thank you. That is where we begin this block, and I mean it without irony. Thank you for the hard months, the ones where you looked at the balance and had to breathe before you could keep looking. Those months built something in you that no windfall ever could. They built discernment. They built the particular brand of discipline that only gets forged when the stakes are real. And thank you for the increase that already came through. Maybe it was small. Maybe it was $100 on a store card 3 years ago and you barely noticed. But you did notice, because something in you registered it as a signal. The system moved in your direction, even a little. That was the first data point, the first proof. Gratitude is not spiritual bypassing. It is not pretending hard things were easy. It is standing in the full truth of your journey, the struggle and the progress together, and finding that when you hold both, neither one diminishes the other. The struggle made the progress real. The progress made the struggle worth it. You are grateful for the capacity you've built, for the score that has been climbing quietly in the background of your daily choices, for the version of you that didn't give up on credit, didn't decide it was too late or too broken to repair. That version of you created this moment right now. And this moment is worth receiving with open hands.
Let's spend a moment here, because this is where most people quietly step off the path. They do the work, they pay the bills, they even start to believe the abundance is real. And then, right at the threshold of actually receiving it, some old voice says, "But not you, not this much. Who do you think you are?" I want you to hear this clearly. That voice is not wisdom. It is not discernment. It is not your conscience keeping you humble. It is a recording. An old file, written before you had the context to challenge it. You are worthy of expanded credit. Not because you've been perfect, no one has, but because you are a human being who made a decision to grow, and growth is the most creditworthy thing there is. Banks extend credit to people they believe will generate future value. You are generating future value. Every day. Every choice. Every time you show up and do the thing instead of avoiding it. Worthiness is not a reward for flawlessness. It is the natural state of someone who is actively becoming, and you are actively becoming. There is no question about that. Let everyone who has been where you've been and kept moving hear this. The expanded limit is not too much for you. More resources in your hands means more capacity to steward them well. You have already proven you can handle hard. Now you get to prove you can handle more. And you will. Step forward, just slightly, into the version of you who received the notification 6 months from now. That person is standing in a different relationship to money than the one you've been in. Not because the number on a card changed, but because the number confirmed something that had already shifted on the inside. The credit limit is just the external certificate. The real event happened here, in the body, in the way you started moving through financial decisions with a steadiness that wasn't always there before. That future self does not panic when a bill arrives. They look at it the way a contractor looks at a work order. Here's what needs to happen, here's how I handle it. Clean, direct, no spiral. That future self uses credit strategically. For leverage, for rewards, for the intentional float that creates optionality. They are not afraid of the tool. They are fluent in it. You have permission to become that person right now, not after you hit some target, not after someone else validates your readiness. You don't need to earn the permission, it was always yours. Permit yourself to carry the confidence that belongs to someone whose credit profile is expanding. Walk with it. Make decisions from it. When a financial question arises today, answer it as that person, the one who has already been through the flip and is standing on the other side, steady and clear. That person is not far from where you're standing. They are one consistent choice away. Everything we've moved through today has been pointing at a single pivot. The flip is not a financial event. It is a self-event. The credit limit increase, the score jump, the bank's revised opinion of you, these are downstream effects. They are the physical world catching up to a change that already happened inside you. The quantum part is not mystical. It is sequential. Identity shifts first. Behavior aligns to identity. Systems respond to aligned behavior. Results appear. You came in today as someone working through debt. You leave as someone in the process of the flip, fully, consciously, irreversibly. Not because I declared it, but because you sat with it long enough to recognize it as true. That recognition is the seed. Recognition does not need a perfect environment to germinate. It just needs you to stop pulling it up to check the roots. You are the person wealth expands toward. You are the person whose limit the system is reviewing upward, right now, in some automated cycle that doesn't know it's responding to who you've become. But you know, and that knowing is the whole point. Carry it out of this room. Into the grocery store, the inbox, the budget spreadsheet, the conversation you've been avoiding. The identity of someone in a credit expansion is not reserved for the moments when the numbers already reflect it. It is the posture that creates the moments. You have done the work today, trust it. The flip is in progress. Until next time, keep expanding. Before you go, I want to ask you to do one thing, one concrete physical thing. Open your credit app, your bank portal, whatever you use to track your accounts. Look at your current limit, look at your current balance, and write down on paper, not a phone note, the limit you are expanding toward. The number that feels like the next level, not unreachable. The next level. Date it, sign it, put it somewhere you will see it in the morning, not as a wish board, as a statement of trajectory. You have already begun the flip. This is just the timestamp. If this session moved something in you, share it with one person who's in the middle of their own financial rebuild. Not as advice, just as a hand reaching back on the trail. That gesture is part of your own integration. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment with today's community question. What is the one financial identity you are actively releasing right now? Tell us what you're letting go of. Not what you're chasing, what you're shedding. The community reads these. I read these. Your answer matters. The next episode will be waiting for you. Until next time, keep expanding.